Hi there, Joe Valenzuela with Business Mutual Insurance Services. Let's talk about how to maximize the potential clients that you can get in front of, especially during the annual election period. In this video, we're going to go over how we identify where we need to focus for our annual election periods. Now, this is good information for the rest of the year, special enrollment outside of AEP as well, but let's focus on AEP for 2023. Okay. So, what is the annual election period, or AEP? It's the time in Medicare insurance where everyone has the ability to switch to a Medicare Advantage plan. It happens October 15th through December 7th of each year, and coverage goes effective January 1st. If you're in the Medicare insurance industry, this is your biggest time of year. This is when 70 to 90% of your business is done. So it's very important that you focus on these 75 days because it can make or break your year or your career in this business. The first thing that we need to identify, or first thing that I would do if I were you as a new agent, is to build relationships with your carrier partners. So here we're talking about the health insurers, United Healthcare, Humana, the big players as well as the smaller players. You want to be in their training sessions. You want to volunteer to do things for them. You also want to just be around them so that you understand the opportunities that are coming up in the market. Because although they can't tell us what's going to happen, there's always some, well, you should focus here and focus there. So we get a little bit of information before it comes out. And if you're not in those rooms, you won't get that information. So if you build your relationships with your carriers, most of them will even have co-op dollars for you. Now, what that means, and this does come with a certain level of, hey, you've got this many sales, or maybe you just have a good relationship because you've been in these carrier meetings. And basically what it is you'll come up with a marketing plan and submit it to a carrier. And then they say, okay, well, you can have this much money. Let's say it's $10,000. We'll give you $5,000 and you come up with the other $5,000 and let's market together. It's called a co-op marketing deal. So you need to establish those relationships because they're imperative to having a good annual election period. We also like to seek displacement. Now, it's kind of hard to do, again, without having these relationships and without being in these meetings. You kind of don't know what's going on. So you have to have those relationships first, and then you can seek displacement. Not only do you have to have relationships with the carriers, but also the network partners, because oftentimes they know what they're going to do before the carriers. So if we have a good relationship with our network partners, then we can kind of understand where displacement's going to happen. A lot of it's rumor, but there is some truth within that rumor. So on October 1st through October 15th, this is called the pre-annual election period. This is when all the information is out, so we know where the displacement is. But a lot of the time, we've already established our marketing for that year. So we do leave a little wiggle room for that to happen. But usually we want to try to find it before AEP is even going to start so that we can push our people to those counties and those places where maybe a plan is losing a network, where maybe a plan is backing out of a county completely. And you have this bucket of lives that are going to be affected by this, meaning that they have to search. And we want to be there to help them find a plan that's right for them. So seek displacement. You can only do that by having relationships. This, in the same vein as seeking displacement, we also want to identify new plans. And a lot of times carriers are willing to tell you this a little bit before AEP 2. Usually they have their product rollouts and they're going to show you what counties they're going to go into. Now, we can't release this information to the public until the 1st, but we can still plan based on it. So if they are going into a brand new county that has never had a Medicare Advantage before, and it is the only Medicare Advantage plan there, it might be nice to be there for a couple reasons. One, it's new, it's novel. People are going to come out and actually listen to you. And two, if they're expanding into those markets, they're going to put some money behind that expansion to make sure that it works. So more co-op dollars, more marketing, things like that. We also want to capitalize on all of our deferred enrollments. Now, if you're an agent that's active in the industry, you should be doing a lot of different things throughout the year to attract business. And sometimes when we sit in front of that business, they don't have an enrollment period to change over plans. This is great. well, not great for them right now, but this is great for our annual election period. We're going to book an appointment with them in October. And we have to make sure that we follow up with these people. You can't just see someone in June and say, oh, okay, you can't enroll right now. I'm going to call you in October. And then just wait till October to call them. We put them in a newsletter. It drips on them. I give them a call every now and then, even a text message to say, hey, just want to let you know we still have this appointment in October. So if you capitalize on all those people that couldn't enroll when you saw them throughout the year, you could even start your annual election period with 10 to 15 sales. That's great. We want to utilize a multi-channel marketing approach, and there's a bunch of different ways to do this, but the main ways that we do it, and this is for advertising for meetings, for sending out lead cards and getting leads back as well, is direct mail. That still works. Everything works a little bit less than it used to, so don't think that one thing is going to be the thing that, makes everything great. Direct mail usually only has about a 2 to 4% response rate. Yeah, so if you're sending out 100 pieces, and usually we don't, you should usually send out 1,000 pieces, you're probably only going to get 20 to 40 leads back on 1,000 pieces. And then only about 20% of that's going to talk to you and book an appointment. And only about 30 to 50% of that is actually going to switch over, right? So you utilize direct mail. It's still a great resource. If you try some more rural counties that don't get pushed mail out a lot, then you might have a better experience. You also want to do online advertising. So you need to have a social media presence, and you need to be doing organic as well as paid advertising. So if you're doing an event, put that on your Facebook, put it in the event section, boost the post, advertise it to the people around the event. Same thing goes with, our website, vistamutual.com. We push people to there all the time so we can get form fills. And those numbers are the same as direct mail, right? Only about 20% of the people that fill out a form will you ever talk to. And we have a system that automatically gets to them by text message, direct voicemail drop, and email. So there's literally seconds between time to lead, and still you're only going to get about 20% of them to even talk to you. But we have to do this. We have to not just rely on one piece. You can also do newspaper. And newspaper can be expensive, but depending on your carrier partners and your FMO and your network partners, there's a way that you can make it work so that everyone can put some in and nobody has to spend a lot of money. But newspaper still works as well. Everything has a very, very low conversion rate though. So if you're not doing it all, don't expect a lot from one thing. We talked a little bit about your organic online presence, but this is more imperative now than ever. If you're just putting out ads on social media, people don't like that. People don't like you. They think you're just trying to sell them something. So these videos right here are a good source for organic media. I'm not trying to sell you something here. I'm just putting out great information so that you can, throughout the year, hear us talk and know that we're the experts. Once you do, then it's easy for you to fill out a form or give us a call because you know us, you've seen me, right? So you need to have an organic online presence as well, where you're not selling anything, where you're giving away everything. And that's what these are. Now, you can also utilize your carrier and network partnerships to get leads. If you have a great relationship with the network, they should be giving you leads so that you can make sure that they stay with their network. Same with the carrier. If you have a great relationship with the carrier, they should be giving you leads to get them more sales and allow the people that you have to stay on their plan. So you need to, first of all, have the relationship, right? We talked about that earlier. You need to be in these meetings. You need to be around these people. You need to provide value to them. Ask good questions. Don't just talk for the sake of talking because people see right through that. And once you do that, then, and show some sales, of course, then opportunities will open up. And you need to capitalize on every one of these opportunities in order to have a great year or even a great AEP. Now, when we're doing all of this stuff, we need to adhere to all of the CMS guidelines. And there are some new ones for 2024. There's another video I did about a month ago on that. So I'll put that in the link in the description below, and you can go over to that video. But there's a lot of rules, and we all have to take tests and be certified and go over this stuff a million times. So there's really no excuse not to know the rules. Now, we know people that know the rules and break them. Yeah, that happens. But we run a very ethical agency, and we try not to break any rules whatsoever. I'm not going to say it never happens, right? We don't forget to say something or, do something like that. That's just a human thing. But our system is set up so that there can't be many mistakes. The disclaimers are read when people call in. We advise people to read that disclaimer in 60 seconds that they call out. I'm also auditing those calls to make sure that happens. So, and doing meetings, there are certain things that we can't do now. In an educational meeting, we can't do an SOA. We can only do a lead card and hand out our card. But in a sales meeting, we can still do that. Okay. And talking about meetings, meetings are probably the biggest way that our agency grows during the annual election period. Now, I know that there's some agencies that just do phone calls, right? They just buy leads, they sit in their office, and they do phone calls all day. And that's fine if that's the way you want to do it. And we have some agents that do that way, and we support them. When we do presentations, though, we're able to get in front of a large group of people, or even 5 or 6 people at once. And if I'm doing 5 of those a week, getting in front of all those people, it really just helps me build a pipeline to do that. Now, a great agent will do all of it. They'll buy leads, they'll do events, they'll do the sales meetings, they'll do educational meetings, formal and informal booths at locations, and we do all of this stuff in order to just get in front of a senior, because that's your first job in this business. Your first job is to find a job to have. So every day you have to find someone to be in front of. And by doing meetings, we not only get carrier advertisement, which is huge. Sometimes they spend millions of dollars advertising our meetings as well as others, but our meetings are in there. So we don't have to come out of pocket a lot. We don't have to establish a co-op relationship where there's a number placed behind it. It's kind of give us your meetings and we'll give you the people. Now, not every carrier works this way, but some do. Some will just give you leads. Some will just give you their existing customers to try to convert them into Medicare Advantage. And that's great too, because you're calling on behalf of that company. You already have a relationship. It's a warm call, and you're just offering them something that they may not have known of. And if, it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul. It only took your time. You didn't have to come out of pocket any money for that, right? So you need to identify the relevant events as well. So things like senior health fairs, anything a senior center is doing. We go a lot into senior communities and say, hey, we'd love to do a Medicare education seminar for you. You can collaborate also with local businesses and organizations. So if there's maybe like a reverse mortgage person or somebody that can bring value to your clients, we even have sometimes doctors and nurses come in to talk about a specific health topic. It just brings value to your clients and shows, again, that you're in the community and that you're an expert. Educational seminars are a great resource, although there has been some changes on those that we just discussed. I know a lot of people that do education seminars during AEP. Now, I don't, and it's something that we might do in the future, but we focus on sales, formal sales and informal sales booths during AEP, but there's some that focus on just Medicare education and get a lot of leads from that resource. So we might add that in too. The follow-up strategies, if you're doing a presentation, have to be solid and locked in. So if I'm doing a presentation and I collect a bunch of lead cards, so I did a presentation for 10 people, I collected 5 lead cards. If I don't do anything with those lead cards, I might as well not have had that presentation. I need to send an email directly after I get to a spot where I can sit. I need to send them an email. I need to possibly text them as well, saying, thank you for your time. Would love to sit down with you and discuss your options further, or in a one-on-one setting where I can go over all the information. And we put it into a intelligent, automatic system that will reach out to them constantly until they book that appointment. Now, some people are annoyed by this and they'll immediately say, why are you texting me so much? And then we'll take them out of that system. But some people just need to be reminded that we're the one that gave them the information and they should come to us when they need help. They might not need help right then. It might be 6 months from now that they're planning on leaving their employer coverage. So we'll put them in our newsletter. We'll give them slow drips. We'll give them a call. Just make sure they know who we are so that they can use us when the time is right. So the follow-up is critical for this. Now, these are just some of the things that we use to have an effective annual enrollment period. And I think that you can use these strategies for almost anytime during the year, but definitely during the annual election period. And we want to bring you more content like this. We want to give you more value, give you more information on how we make money and how we do things. And know that this is just how we do things. There are thousands of ways to skin this cat. So hopefully you get some value out of this, but please comment, make suggestions, ask questions, and subscribe so that we can continue to bring you this great educational content. For Vista Mutual Insurance Services, I'm Joe Valenzuela. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.